Hey guys, I'm Daniel Norton. I'm here in my home in New York, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about gear. So one of the things I get asked about so much is kind of what's in your lighting kit? And this is often a hard question to answer because depending on the project, my kit changes drastically. I use lots of different types of lights, lots of different types of kits, and I had, before the pandemic started thinking about how can I break this down? Well, as it turns out, I was traveling just before we kind of started locking down here to WPPI in Las Vegas. And I took with me what is kind of my lightweight travel kit, the one that I bring when I'm trying to fly, the one that I bring if I'm just going, locally, but I don't need a lot of power. It consists of small flashes, and I can do so much with it. And that's actually one of the things I was talking about at WPPI. So what's interesting here is that then when I came back, I'm kind of in the house, and this is what I've got. So I've done a lot of different things since then, from some videos I've done on Adorama. I've did a few live streams already using this kit. We did, I did some where we did some household modifiers, but I use the stuff that's in here to do various things. So you can do a lot with this kit. It's actually pretty robust, and when this is all over, am I going to toss all my other lights and just keep this? No. But is this a great small travel kit? Yes. And I think that it can do the job that many of us do as portrait photographers. Now, there's a few things. This is the Think Tank airport bag. I'll put a link to it. So now, one thing that's important is this fits in an overhead in most planes, right? It rolls, and it's also built strong enough and hardy enough that you can check it if you need to. It's got the TSA lock on it. And so it's a great travel bag. It's made for travel. Think Tank does a good job with that. This here is my little scale. So, no matter what, no matter how much you can jam into a bag, if it weighs too much, you're going to have trouble in flights. So if you do a lot of traveling, these little scales are very useful. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the thing all set. I'm just going to see how much this thing weighs. So this is about 37 pounds. So 37 pounds of lighting gear is going to basically be able to do so many different things. It's going to not have a problem if you need to check it. It's not going to be a problem as a carry-on, and you'll be able to throw it in the trunk of a car. A single person moving this around, plus like your backpack with, let's say, your cameras and your computer in it, you'll be good to go. Now this does have a space in the front that you can stick your computer or iPad or whatever, and I'll sometimes do that if I'm just on location, but this outside part's not really padded, so I wouldn't travel with my computer in here unless I was going to pull it out. I certainly wouldn't check the bag like that. But there's a spot there for it if you want. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to go through this bag. I'll kind of pull each piece out that I have in there. I'll tell you why I have it. If it's been used in a video, I'll try to refer to those videos for you guys or put links so you guys can see all that stuff. And if there's not a video yet, maybe I'll make one. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, I just want to start off by saying this is my kit, right? Your kit is going to be different depending on the work that you do. And even though this is a semi-permanent kit, like I said at the beginning, I change my kits constantly depending on the job. And in fact, there's already stuff I know that I'm going to add to this now that I've had this situation where I've had to use it for more. So definitely let me know if you have any questions, like what might swap for that, or do you think they could work with this? Because I think you're going to get a lot of that, right? Whenever we do these gear things. Like I said, there's space here. You could stick something on the outside. I don't normally put much out here unless I need to just shove something in there temporarily, because I keep my computer and my cameras in a separate backpack. So when I'm traveling, I've got this, and then I've got the backpack, and that's like your carry-on and your like spare item. And then if I have to check this bag, I can, of course. So like I said, TSA lock on the side. You've got some pockets kind of here. I put small, skinny things in there like you would imagine. But let's get to the meat of it. I'm going to unpack it kind of as I go, not necessarily in order, any particular order. It's just sitting right here on top is my Chimera. So this is actually one bag, but I have two Chimeras in here. So I've got, again, this is a small flash kit, so I don't have anything huge. What I've got is two different boxes. I have the extra small, right, which is I was going to say a small box, but it's an extra small box. This is 12 by 16, I believe. So this is a good box for like a portrait when you want to shape the face. It's good for small product photography. This is, again, one of my favorite boxes. It gives good shape and good soft diffuse light. So that's great. The other one I keep in here is actually the same size, but this guy is what's called the Mini. So the Mini is, as you can see, and you might know this from other videos, that I like this. This is a flat front box, right? So what the flat front box does for you is it basically allows the light to spread more. So when I want the feel of a softbox, but I need more coverage, the Mini is great for that. Sometimes I will swap the Mini out for my small, or I should say my extra small versus my extra extra small. Sometimes I will swap the extra extra small out for the extra small. In fact, I can fit all three in here, but I just don't see the need to carry 3 softboxes all the time. They do all fit though, if you really want to do that. So you could definitely do that, and they have that little case there. So that's cool, right? That's like your basic, that's generally my key light, right? For 99% of the things that we're gonna do, a nice softbox key is a winner, right? That usually just works. So we've got that. I'm gonna throw stuff on the ground here like a maniac. Okay, so in here though, I've got a couple other things. So, okay, I'm gonna actually go a little out of order just because we're talking about key lights. The other thing I might use as a key or a fill, this is a collapsible umbrella by Lastolite. It is the translucent one. So I like this for a nice soft key. I like it for small groups, and I like it for a fill light. It's a great light just to kind of, great modifier just to throw light everywhere, and it folds down super small like this. It opens up really big. So this is actually a very nice little umbrella that I always keep with me. And again, you can't go wrong with umbrellas, right? An umbrella is a good, simple modifier. Also from Lastolite, I've got their reflector system. Okay, so I've got the, I'll put links to all this stuff, so with the exact names and everything. This is, you've seen me use this a bunch of times before, right? So this is the Halo Compact, I think is what it's called. So what's great about this is, so we've all used those pop-up reflectors, we've all used Brooklyn reflectors, right? Those are great. But the thing is, in this bag, while I could fit a small disc reflector, it just bulky. Like this is tiny, and it's very, very strong. And the fact that it has on it quarter 20 here, I think you can probably see better in that camera, quarter 20 here at the bottom, means that I can mount this onto a stand very easily and use this as a modifier. So if I don't want to use the umbrella and I want a more panel effect, which we've done before, of course, then this is a great way to go about it, because, of course, the difference between a panel and an umbrella, right? The panel, you put your light separate from it, which means that you have a little more control. You can let the light go through it, go around it, you can change the position. So this gives me another lighting option, and that's how I normally use it, but I also have for it the skin that is the silver reflector with white. So I use this a lot less often, and if I was going back to look at it, I probably would get 2 full kits instead of the full kit and then the additional fabric. And the reason for that is because this is a little bit slow to build, compared to like a pop-up reflector. So normally once I'm on a location, I'm not going to want to take this apart unless I need to build something else. So unless I know I want a silver reflector, I just build the diffusive one because I can use it like a white bounce, and I can use it as a light source to bounce light through, or shoot light through, I should say. Now, not having to do with lighting at all, but just sitting on top, so I'll get to it, is, okay, so this is important, right? So many times when I travel, I'm like, got my stuff spread out all over the room in 20 different places because I'm looking for as many plugs as I can find. So I broke down and bought this. This has 4, I mean, you can get whatever, whichever ones, I'll put a link to something if we've got it. It's got 4 of the standard plugs, and then it has 4 USBs. So I can charge my phone, I can charge my, my mics and stuff, because I do this kind of stuff, of course. I can do all kinds of stuff with the USBs. Then I've got 4 other ports here, and there happens to be 4 lights in this. So this is exactly enough to charge this whole kit without having to, in one plug. So I don't have to worry about that. This keeps my kit really, really compact. Wherever I go, if I have one place to plug in, I am golden. And you can almost always find that. So that's great. I definitely recommend that. I've carried power strips before, but I like this one because it's kind of compact, so I think it's kind of better for me. Also in that, again, I'm not going in particular order. I'll put a list, so again, you're not taking notes too much. Gaff tape. This is micro gaff, gray. I like gray. I mean, ideally, I would carry black, gray, and white, which is kind of the kit that I have. But if you're only going to have one roll, gray is good because gray is not so reflective as white and noticeable, but you can still write on it, where black you really can't write on it, and see it with like a Sharpie or something. So the gaff tape is good for that. Let's just clear out this whole middle section here. Okay, this is an articulated arm. You've seen me use these before. This is great. I can mount my softbox on it. I can mount the reflector on it. I can actually, if I needed to, I can mount my camera on it if I want to get a weird angle. So this is great. I just carry one. You can carry as many as you like. They are kind of heavy, so I really thought about how many I thought I would need, and one works for me. Again, it really depends on your kit. I know Seth carries, I think, 3 in his kit. So, you know, it depends on what you do with them. I'm not going to pull them all out because I don't think there's anything under there, but I've got 3 of these bad boys. These are Matthews mini reverse stands. They go to about 7 feet tall, roughly, and they collapse super, super tiny. So these are great. You can get them because of the way the legs flip up. Not only does that make them fold smaller, but also you can kind of get them up on their tippy toes, as I call it, and basically get them in narrow spots, right? If you need to, or you can go really flat with them and throw a lot of weight on there, which will allow you to kind of give you a little more kind of stability. So they've got a lot of options. I mean, would I put a 7-foot Octa with a huge 1200 watt second monolight on this? No, of course not. But that's not this kit, right? This kit is a small flash kit. So there are plenty fine for that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this in there for space. Now, let's get into some mounting stuff, and I'll do the flashes at the end. So we've got a few different ways we might want to mount our flashes. If we're going to put the flashes onto a light stand, you're going to want to use something like this. This is an umbrella adapter. This one happens to be from Tether Tools. I think this one here is from Photech. There's a lot of good ones. I like the ones that are metal, and I like them to, you know, have that ideally, because that kind of helps you know that you're locked in. You know, these really have that style. What I like about the Tether Tools one in particular is that, unlike a lot of them, when you pull this off here, I'm not sure how much you can see that. I'll do that so you can see it in the other camera. You'll see that. You've got a core 20 on top, right? So what that's going to give me, again, is like if I want to put my my reflector on a stand, I can do that with this. Also, when I get to my softbox setup, I'll show you that that works with that as well. So that's how that works. Nice and simple. So I like these. If you can't get those, I have 2 of those. If you can't get those readily available, I like these Photech ones. Again, I'll put links. The important part is that you want something that's small and strong, right? Because this is a small kit. Okay, that's all that's in there. I have 3 of those. I have 3 light stands. I have 4 flashes. So ultimately, you're probably going to end up with either one on the camera, or you're going to end up mounting one in some other means. So I have a couple other means to mount things. I've got my homemade Justin clamp, which I've talked about before in videos on my channel. Basically, this is a tiny little ball head, modified. We can put a small flash on here. You can clamp it to things, you know, like this. Pinch it. You can also put it on a light stand there. You can screw it into things. So it's got a lot of options. What I like about this versus the traditional Justin clamp, which I also carry one of those, is that this little ball head comes off really easily and actually is decently strong for a small mirrorless camera. You could hold it. So like I said, I can like mount my camera in different places if I need to with this kit. Clearly, I'd rather carry a proper tripod, and I do, but if I only have this kit and I need to put the camera on a tripod, I have this. So that's one reason why I carry this guy. And again, I'll put the pieces for this one in, I guess, in the description. And this one, this is your standard Justin clamp, kind of the Manfrotto one. It comes with its own little head. What's kind of cool about this version is that the head's down here, which I think is better for, it's a little easier to get a good pinch on it, but yeah, both of them work. Alrighty. Keeping up with me? All right, here we go. Speedring from Chimera. That holds a softbox, right? This is what is going to be the foundation of my softbox. I only carry one because even though I carry 2 softboxes, it's very, very rare that I will put 2 softboxes up at the same time. Normally, unless I'm doing something, you know, very elaborate, and that's a specialty thing, so I would think about it ahead of time and bring Speedring. These are kind of cheap, so if you want to get 2, you know, 2 is good. I don't think I'd carry more than that. To go with that, in this little bag here, I've got basically the adapter for it. So what this guy does is essentially you put this, you know, through here and then to here. And you got a couple options, right? When we do this, we can then, I do it a few different ways depending on what I'm trying to do. Either I'm going to, this has quarter 20 here, at the bottom here. So I can either mount directly to here, you know, depending on my situation, or I can take this one out here, and this also is a quarter 20 underneath, so I could get it wherever I want. If it's whether it be on an articulating arm or on top of a light stand or on one of these tether tool guys that I just showed you before, you know, I put that all together and I can move this all around and do what I gotta do. It gives me a lot of options with only a small thing. The only downside to this, I will say, is that from this position, it's not easy to just go vertical or horizontal with it. But I usually, if I think I'm going to need that versatility, I put it on an arm, and then it doesn't matter because I can flip the arm. But if you are on a light stand, you got to think about that before you put the light up. So just keep that in mind. Okay. In here, I've got the Profoto Gel Kit. So this is the one that is made for the A1. It has like your tungsten, your fluorescent, blah, blah. One thing that I've learned, and at the end of this, I'm going to talk about things I'm going to add to this kit, because now that I'm kind of stuck with this kit is my only kit for a bit, I definitely know there's some things I want to put in here that I think I should just keep in here. So we'll do that at the very end. But anyways, those are gels. Here is, I have 4 of these, one for each flash. These are the adapters to put the bounce card onto the flash, right? We've used that plenty of times in videos. I use these a lot of times, not just for bounce cards, but I use them for, like to use as a way to kind of barn door or flag the light, right? So I'll take this and I'll basically, you know, put it together like this. There we go. You know, like a little hat. And then when you got your flash, you can, you know, bounce card. You can bounce it like that, or you can, you know, if you want to flag it from like hitting a wall or something, you can put it on the side. So pretty easy to work with. Those I have 4 of, you know, one for each flash. What I've got in here is lots of extra little pieces. So this is miscellaneous pieces, right? Essentially what we've got here is little adapters, male and female. You've got an extra hot shoe in there. You've got an adapter to a shoe. It's going to just allow me to mount the flashes and stuff in various places that I wouldn't normally be able to if I just with what's currently there. I have a Ziploc bag in here, and then also, which I keep in every bag, silica gel, so it doesn't get too damp in there. A couple of or 4, you know, clothespins. You never know when clothespins are going to come in handy. They're the most useful thing, you know. So definitely that's a good thing. This right here is my remote. So I'm using the Profoto system. You know, even though the A1 itself can act as a remote, I have a remote to fire them and extra batteries for it in here. So I bounce back and forth between keeping this in this bag or keeping it in my camera bag. It really kind of depends on what I'm doing. Currently I have it in this bag because these are the only flashes I have, so if I'm going out with flash, it's all together. But in my studio setup, I often keep them separate in my camera bag because I have lots of different lighting kits. But if you're just going to have one kit, or when I'm traveling, I put it all together. Cool. All right, I have 2 of these guys. The bonnet. This is like, I've seen probably use these before. I don't use these that often, but I use them enough that I decided to, you know, at first I was like, I don't know if I use this enough, maybe I'll get rid of them. But I'll tell you, every time I use them, I'm like, they're good to keep around. So they do take up a decent amount of size in here. So there are times where I just don't take these if I know I won't need them. But, you know, generally speaking, they stay with this kit because they're not useful for anything but the A1s. So anyways, speaking of the A1s, we're getting close to the end here. So I've got 4 of these, right? Got 4 A1s. I keep them marked. M is my master. Then I've got A, B, and C because there's the 3 of the groups that are TTL. So I basically leave these flashes in those groups all the time. And the M I put usually in D or some other channel. So essentially each one of these guys, I keep it kind of as you would get it, you know, from the manufacturer. You've got it here with a battery on it. And then each one I've got the wide angle adapter and the bounce. I think the wide angle adapter might be an option, but I got them when I bought them and I just leave them like that. It's there. These are the original A1s. In addition to the actual head, in that same sleeve where it is, I have the extra battery for it, and I have that on the charger. So again, I have 4 lights, so I carry 4 chargers, and I carry 8 batteries. So I'm constantly charging 4 batteries while I'm working. I can't say I've ever had a situation where I've run out of battery. So they all fit right here. I have traveled and checked this many, many times. But if you are paranoid and you do not want to check, you know, small flash because you feel like they might not be tough enough or something might happen to them when you're traveling, one option that you could do with this setup is pull these 4 out and put them in your backpack. You're definitely not going to check no matter what. that has your cameras in it, for instance, and then take the clothing, which is where I normally keep my clothes, and put that in there. You know, so that's another way you can swap that out if you're actually making a trip. But each one of these sections is the same, with one A1, one charger, one battery, right? So we've got a full set there of 4 lights, which basically gives me a million different options. You know, with 4 lights, you can do so much. You could have 5, you could have 6, you could have 2, you could have 3. It really depends on what you're doing. I feel like 4 is great because 3 is kind of what you want, and the 4th one's a backup. Also, the 4th one can act as my transmitter if my transmitter goes down or something happens. So, you know, for me, that was a good number to buy. You, it depends on the work you do, your budget, etc. Now, finally, only a couple more things left. Super clamp. Every kit that I have has at least one super clamp in it. This is probably one of the most versatile clamps that you can get. It is great to have. I keep a super clamp in my kit. It's going to allow me to mount stuff all over the place. It works with the arm. It works to clamp, you know, lights in different places on tables. I use it for non-light stuff. In that same sleeve, I have the AC cables, which is, that's not so interesting, for the A1s. I can plug them in. I've also got, oh, look at you down there. Oh, another clothespin. That one snuck away. I have this guy, which is an extension arm. It is an extension arm for the super clamp, basically, and the stud for the super clamp is in there. So I could take this stud and put it in the super clamp to use it, you know, normal, or I could put the whole thing in there to give me an extension arm. So this gives me a little some options. Sometimes I'll use this if I'm going to do like a secondary underneath light, you know, like I'm doing butterfly lighting from like one stand. I can put this on the stand, you know, underneath it like that, and give myself that option. So I don't think I've done a video on that, but I think I will now that I'm talking about it. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the kit. The only other thing I have in here in this kind of fold down section is I've got the feet that come with the A1. So if you want to just stand it on something, which is good, right? And I've got some cut pieces of gel. And on that note, let's talk about what I would add to this kit, because I feel like this is a pretty good kit. But now that, again, I've had about 3 months of exclusively like only being able to use this kit, I will say this. I already said with the Lastolite, instead of just getting the fabric, I would get 2 complete kits. It's not that much more expensive, and I kind of wish I had at the time. I thought to myself, oh, the extra space, but honestly, it would fit in here no problem, and having 2 frames is going to be super convenient, so I definitely would do that. And the other thing that I feel like I'm really missing here is gels. So normally I use big packs of gels, right? Like this is the Rosco Gel Kit. Photo lighting, I have a whole stack of these. So I usually have a whole bag of gels, like a whole setup with all my different gel kits. And when I'm going on photo shoots, I take that bag with all the things. When I'm traveling with this kit, I usually kind of know what I'm doing. So I might take like 1 or 2 little cuts of gel, and I always have the ones that come with it. So I go on if I want to do like the tungsten or whatever. So I have that, but I don't have like a variety of gels. So I feel like that's one thing I was missing. So I went and got some packs of gels, and I'm going to spend some time cutting these up. You definitely want to, when you're using small flash, I think, have gels that are cut to size. With bigger stuff, it's fine, drape it over, whatever. But with these, it's nice to just have them cut, because if you cut your gel down to the right size, so that, I mean, in this case, it's got like magnet or whatever, you could basically cut it to the right size, boom, magnet on top, or you could use the gel holder that I have there to put gels on. And it's just a lot easier than draping a big old gel over it. Because one thing that draping the gel over it does is it oftentimes makes the light spread out where you don't want it, and that's not necessarily what we want with these kind of lights, right? These lights are generally about control. It's usually why I'm using them. In this case, I'm using them because of what I've got. And it's been kind of fun. You know, it's been fun to be kind of stuck in a situation where I had to forego some of the other gear that I'm used to using, and I'm a little spoiled in a sense. So I think this is a good kit for me. I can do most portrait type jobs up to, I would say, maybe a group of like 3 or 4 people pretty comfortably. If the group got bigger than that, I think I'd be pushing it with this kit for the way that I like to light anyways. So yeah, any 1 or 2 person project, which is what I normally do, I think I can get away with using these pretty easily without too much issue. Again, being limited by the modifiers I have and stuff to do the shaping. You know, I don't have a hard beauty dish and stuff like that you wouldn't have for small flashes anyways. So, you know, if you like that kind of stuff, this isn't necessarily going to work as your only kit, but I think as a travel kit or as a small kit for portraits, this is very good. You know, what I'd be curious is what you guys have for kits. Like, what's your small portrait roll around kit? Is it like one flash in a bag? Is it bigger than this? Do you have all kinds of stuff? Like, I'd be curious what your small kit is. And you know, if you guys want, once I get a chance to get back to the studio, I will do another one of these on like a bigger kit, like I might take on a commercial type job versus like a portrait, to show you kind of the difference of like what equipment I'd bring, why I would choose it, because I think that's also kind of relevant to this. And one of the things I think about when you look at somebody who's talking about what's in my bag, it's like, well, why is it in their bag, right? So hopefully you understand why I have this stuff in here. And if you have specific questions, go ahead and ask in the comments, and you know, I'll answer them as best I can. By the way, guys, make sure that you subscribe to Adorama TV and ring the bell so you keep getting videos like this. Follow me, Daniel Norton Photographer, here on YouTube, and I'll see you next time on set.